Hi, in an earlier video, I present a deal from 1933. Both the American pairs from Ely Culbertson's team sat east-west and dispute arose. The decision of the committee generated a heated debate. The US team felt that the decision was unfair to them. Quite possibly that was the case. After all, one of their opponents was an aristocrat who went on to become the Prime Minister of Greece later. Today, the deal would be scratched and both the teams would be penalized because the law is simple and leaves little scope for discretion. There was no such law in 1933 and hence the dissatisfaction. I argued in that video that the rules should be simple, should leave little scope for discretion. The reason I referred to that old deal was because some of the recent decisions forced me to question the fairness of the delivered rulings. Before I discuss the first one of them, have a look at this deal. South plays in 6 heart, West leads club ace, has no way of knowing whether he started with singleton or doubleton, and continues with club king. Declarer rubs and claims 11 tricks. Everybody accepts, the play goes on, but then after some time, the declarer realizes, or perhaps somebody alerts him to the possibility of an extremely unlikely squeeze that actually was on because the cards were so distributed. Let us just ask GIB. As you can see, if declarer just cashes all the trumps, East gets squeezed in spades and diamonds. Now, why does that happen? Because South has the 9 of diamonds, North has 8 of spades, and East comes up with King, Queen, Jack, 10, 9 of spades, and King, Queen, Jack, 10 of diamonds. Now, East goes to the director and says he claimed wrongly, he cannot lose that trick. Whatever he does, he is a good player, he will continue playing trumps and East will get squeezed. You are the director. Will you give him 12 tricks? Will you give him his contracts? Think about that for a while and then after some time I'll present the deal that actually made me rethink about the law, about the fairness and about all of this. This was the deal that came up in India-New Zealand Bermuda Bowl match in one of the early rounds. Now, West 4 spade got doubled and the play went thus club to ace, club back, Indian West finished diamonds. Not the best play, diamond got rubbed, club queen, that was rubbed. Spade king was played and at this time North claimed 2 down. Everybody agreed and that was the score that was entered. Later North-South realized that the contract could go 3 down. From whatever reports we hear, we don't have a formal account. The deal has not been formally reported anywhere. So whatever we have heard is that the score was later adjusted to 4 spade double 3 down. Now, the point here is that North claimed 2 down, not the declarer. Unfortunately, some of the explanations of the law, let us look at the relevant bridge law. Law 71 says concession cancelled, and some of the explanations of bridge law say that every claim is a concession too. That is, if 4 tricks are remaining, you claim 2 tricks, that means you are conceding 2 tricks. So every claim is a concession. Law 71 talks about concession cancelled, not claim cancelled. But if you come from that kind of interpretation of claim that it is also a concession, that concession claimed is, concession cancelled is claim cancelled too. What does it say? If a player considered trick his side had in fact won, or if a player has considered a trick that could not be lost by any normal play of the remaining cards. Now obviously the trick was not already won by the New Zealand player. The interpretation must have been that it could not be lost with any normal play of card. I bring you back to this deal. You can easily see that the normal play of all trumps would squeeze east, but if South claimed it at trick 2, then most likely South hadn't seen that particular squeeze happening. Could it be the case here that North was unable to see 3 down and therefore claimed 2 down? Or could it be the case that North was too hasty in making that claim? Who should be blamed for that? Should the East Mid be blamed or should the North South be blamed? Now, there is another thread, another aspect of this issue. If the deal had been played through and the contract had gone 3 down, that would have been that the score would have been reported, the players would have gone to next deal, and the matter would have ended there. In this particular case, the matter went to the director, the score was adjusted, the Indians felt that it was not fair. They did ask for a review, and then they ended up spending a lot of their time and energy on this particular matter. Now, let me just show you the score. The scoreboard shows 36-36 here. Later on, the 7 IMP loss became a 12 IMP loss because 500 became 800, and then the final score was, as you can see, New Zealand 37-37. I see that it is a 5 IMP difference or a 4 IMP difference. Let us take 5 IMPs. The VP scale says that for 0 it is 10-10, so 5 IMPs roughly 11.48, 8.5. So India would have got 1.5 VP more. India finished 10th. Those 1.5 IMPs would have taken them to 264.6. But much more importantly, had there not been this incident, so to say, that a claim and then a cancelled concession or whatever, it would have saved a lot of time and energy. The question is it fair that a team ends up spending their time and energy on something that was a creation of an opponent's mistake? A lot of discussion took place on this particular deal on a WhatsApp discussion group, and I watched it with quite a bit of interest. Not many Indian players were satisfied with the ruling. They thought it was unfair. There were some who also justified that particular ruling. Some quoted Law 71. But the thing that I found most interesting was this statement from one of them, which says, yes, this law was used. What went against us is class of player. At the end of all the Swissly grounds, the Butler scores were published. Let us look at the Butler scores. Do they tell us about the class? In this particular event, the Butler scores, one of the Indian pairs had 0.1 IMP, 256 boards. Another Indian pair had 0.37 IMPs, 287 boards. And where was this pair from New Zealand? Cornell, Michael and Bach Ashley, they were 0.04 IMPs after 240 boards. Does that tell you about class of a player? I don't know. I don't know how the class is defined. This was a 6-heart contract Bach was playing, and Diamond lead came. A free finesse was available, but he went up with Diamond King. Did that first refusal of finesse tell you something about class of player? Can one single hand tell you anything about the class of player? Just see what happened in the scoreboard. 6-heart went down here and 6-heart was made in other room. New Zealand lost 17 IMPs. Does one single deal tell you about the class of a player? Let us look at another hand. On this hand, Heart King was laid. It's a 3-diamond contract. Heart ace, declarer played a spade, North won spade ace, played a heart. Her queen came back from south, declared a raft, went to speed queen, and played the diamond 10. Now, north failed to cover. Do we count this as a mistake? Does it tell us anything about the class of a player? I don't know. I leave the decision to you. Finally, let me have a look at the very first session of the final. Definitely, those who made it to the final were players of higher class, let us say. Now, what happens here? You can see that about 106 IMPs were exchanged in 16 boards, more than 6.5 IMPs roughly per board. Normally, you would see in good matches that this is between 4 and 5. It could be possible that this was a dicey set. It could be possible that there were too many errors. A lot of bridge players had seen this round and commentated that there were many mistakes, perhaps due to exhaustion, because they were already playing 13th or 14th day. So that tells us that whatever the class, on a given day, on a given deal, players could end up making inexplicable mistakes. Finally, what does the law say about this? This is the law 71. It says that if a player has considered a trick that could not be lost by any normal play of the remaining cards, and for normal it says refer to note 22, and 22 is here for the purposes of law 71. Normal includes play that would be careless or inferior for the class of player involved. So even if the class of player is good or high or whatever, careless or inferior is included in normal. Let me submit to you, the claim itself was careless. I don't know the intricacies of the law. It's only that I felt that this particular decision was not fair, and that is why I have tried to present all the aspects of this case to you in this video. The question is, if a player makes a mistake, should the law allow him to cover that mistake by taking recourse to law? Does the class of a player, leave too much to discretion? Is the class of a player similar to the class of a robo, that it is invariant, doesn't change with time, doesn't change with situation? Does the quality of play of any player not depend on situation, time, stamina, and many other factors? Is it fair to let the class of the player dictate an adjusted score in bridge? I leave that judgment to you. I am no law expert, so I don't know the best answers to these questions. I felt that the ruling in this case was unfair, so I made this video. There is one final page that I wish to show you. Now, what happens to the cases where a director is asked to rule, a ruling is given, a team files for a review, and the reviewer delivers the final ruling? Does the public come to know about it? Does it so happen that the ruling is forgotten the next day or maybe even the next hour? Two common bridge players have an opportunity to look at these rulings, to examine these rulings, to discuss them, to debate them, and if they feel that there is anything unfair about it, do the common players have a chance to record their displeasure, or to let World Bridge Federation know, to let the national organizations know about their views in the matter? So I checked that by looking at the general conditions of contest. So look at this clause 2.21 here, reviewer and their assistants. The WBF president appoints the reviewer and their assistants before the start of the championship and will review the TD's rulings when required to do so. Any such review may be recorded and subsequently published on the WBF website. I checked the WBF review page. This is the page where the reviews are supposed to be published. It says WBF Code of Practice for Reviewers. Okay, I'll read the whole thing. As my predecessor, Jose Damiani, has already stated, this Code of Practice has proved its worth time and again since its inception in 1999. Such has been its value that the use of the code in a modified form, published as the 5th edition, enables the WBF to dismiss the need for appeals committee at its championships. Instead, a reviewer will be appointed who will consult with high-level players and senior tournament directors to advise when directors' rulings are disputed. This was from July 2014. Now let us check. We see 16, 17, 18 and 19. It is 2023 now. There is no review for 2020, 2021, 2022. I don't know whether a review will be published for 2023. It seems to me that the decisions of the reviewer are not getting published in time. It seems to me that common players are not having an opportunity to review this decision. It seems to me that even if a decision is unfair, even if many people feel that it is so, the appeal itself, the review, and whatever goes along with it is forgotten in a few hours after the event takes place, and that in last few years there has not been any sort of course correction. Now it is important that we address this particular issue early enough so that 2027 laws could incorporate some of this. I'm really keen that bridge appeals and review processes deliver justice and publish the delivered justice so that common people have an opportunity to examine that delivered justice, and there is a possibility of course correction if there is something wrong over there. Now, when I looked at the discussion over the deal that I have shown you, a lot of thoughts came to my mind. I took the trouble to make this video to present all of it to you because I thought there wouldn't be any other opportunity where this would be presented to you in a comprehensive form. I would like to listen to your views on this. Please offer your comments below this video. I don't know whether you agree with me or whether you don't agree with me. In fact, I have not made any particular statement about the correctness of whatever happened. What I am more interested is in the fact that it gets published properly and that common players have an opportunity to discuss and debate that. I hope you liked this discussion. Thanks for joining. Bye for now.